What's up, tribe? How you guys doing? Go ahead and hit that subscribe button. Hope you like this video. This is my review for Pose Season 2, Episode 4. Now look, this review might be all over the place because I have so much I want to say and my thoughts are just all over the place. First of all, let me say this. I could tell by the previews 2 weeks ago. I kind of knew this was the storyline. I knew what was going to happen. Um, so that didn't shock me what happened in this episode. I also knew whose storyline this was sort of based on, unlike last week's or 2 weeks ago episode, which thank you for those of you that dropped it in my comments that it was based on Dorian Corey. Dorian, yes. I knew who she was from Paris is Burning, but I did not know that part of the story. And then I had to go back and look at Paris is Burning because you could see the damn trunk in Paris is Burning. I'm like, there go the trunk right there with the body in it, right? So it freaked me out. I did not know that story. Um, but if you've seen Paris is Burning, then you do know loosely what this story is based on. I don't know what I can say about how well written this show is. I don't have the words. My vocabulary is not extensive enough to give all the adjectives that I want to give. Janet Mock posted on her Instagram today a picture of the script, and she talked about how many how long they worked on this script for this story. They even scrapped it and decided not to do the story and then came back to it. And she said how many times they rewrote it and how everybody who's a part of the show, how emotional they got with this storyline. So okay, I'm sorry, y'all been talking for 2 minutes. Let me get to the story. But I just can't. I cannot. I can't. Oh, this thing took me out. This episode took me out, y'all. Like it took me out. And once again, Pose had me dropping tears. Okay. So we start the episode off, as always, with a ballroom scene. They had they did a Banji Boy category, and you see Ricky giving Ricky giving Damon the side eye, like he giving Damon that eye the whole time, looking at him across the room, like I was like, okay, here we go with that. And while the Banji Boy category is coming in, guess who storms the floor? Miss Candy, right? She's doing Madonna. She's got her Madonna from the Vogue video. She got the blonde wig. She's doing her whole Madonna thing. She's even giving them the choreography from the video. And of course, Pray Tell is giving it to her. What the hell are you doing? Why are you here? What is going on? And she said, I'm doing a tribute to Madonna. And she said, Pray Tell, you always talking about this is our time and this is the song is putting us on the map. So I'm here to pay homage. Like you giving it to me. What's the problem? So they get to going back and forth. And she said, Pray Tell, what the fuck is it? Like what? Oh, I didn't mean to curse. What is it? You know what I mean? You just don't like me. What is the problem? What is your problem with me? And they go back and forth. And Pray Tell is giving it to him. He even kind of hit below the belt a couple of times, even to the point where Blanca was like, "All right, Pray, like that was you ain't have to do that, Pray." But they've been doing it. They've been doing it. And to the point where she said, "Look, I'm a star. Y'all can say what y'all want to say about me, but I know who I am, and I am a star. And you're gonna regret how you treat me." She said, "You're gonna regret how you treat me, Pray Tell." She said, but so then they asked for he said, "Okay, well let the judges talk." And of course the judges give it to her. One judge even gave her a damn 0. Well, my thing is that wasn't in your category, boo. So I guess it's a Banji Boy category. You coming there dressed like Madonna. You supposed to get a 0. But again, Candy was being Candy, and she was like, "Look, um, I know who I'm a performer. And I know I'm good at it." That confidence that Candy always has. So like I said, she ends up storming off, what have you. So next we see Pray Tell and Blanca going to the hospital. And you start to see how the Vogue thing is becoming a caricature. It's kind of like when disco went from here to now we had the disco duck, or rap went from here to now everybody want to be a rapper and was making a caricature of the culture and of the genre. And that's sort of we see the nurse as they're coming down the hall. The nurse is doing, she's doing all of this. And Pray Tell was like, she wasn't voguing with us, she was voguing at us. Like, you know what I mean? Like that they're turning this our culture into a caricature and they're playing with it. And so you start to see that, the song is the more popular the song becomes, the more it becomes, you know, like Damon offering Vogue classes at the YMCA. I remember when you could take breakdancing classes because everybody wanted to learn how to breakdance, that kind of thing. So they're actually showing up at the hospital to plan the next cabaret. You remember last year when Pray Tell's boyfriend passed away and they did the cabaret. Well, he was sick. He was dying. And they did the cabaret at the hospital where Pray Tell and um, Blanca ended up doing the duet. Remember last year? So they're planning it for this year. And, Pray Tell is all excited and everything. And he's like, after last year, we know we need to do come bigger and better. We know that we're going to have more people show up, and they're sitting with Sandra Bernhardt's character, the nurse, and Blanca was like, "Well, that ain't really why we here, Pray Tell." Pray Tell was like, "Is this another damn intervention?" He said, "I've been doing better with my drinking. What is the problem?" And come to find out, they're trying to get Pray Tell to take the AZT, and Pray Tell's like, "I'm not taking that toxic shit. Like, I'm not doing it." And Sandra Bernhardt was like, "Well, Blanca told me about this little voodoo shit you doing." Come to find out, Pray telling some of his friends, honey, they done got it in their head that they can flush out the I guess the bad, I don't know, flush the shit out their system by eating butter. And they were melting butter with mineral oil, honey, and eating it, a pound of fucking butter. And Sandra Bernhardt was like, the fact that you would be willing to eat a pound of butter tells me you want to live. However, I'm here to tell you as a medical professional, that ain't going to work. And AZT is all we got. Your numbers are dropping. Blanca's numbers have gone up. She's only been taking it for a couple of weeks and her numbers have already gone up. Your numbers are dropping. And he was like, they ain't dropping that low for me to be taking this shit. And they were like, well, look, Pray, you got a choice. You know what I mean? You got a choice. We love you. This is what we want, but you got to make a choice. So he storms off. He was like, "Look, I ain't fooling with y'all. I'm gonna get the hell up out of here. Y'all done messed up my day, and I'm out." And he leaves. Next thing you know, we see they're having the meeting of the MC council. Yeah, I guess the MC council. That's not what it's called. That's not what I'm looking for. Anyway, but we see Pray Tell and three other men who also MC the balls in the different boroughs. And they have an agenda and they're talking about, what types of things they need to be addressing as the balls go forward. They said, with the popularity of the balls, we need to figure out what we're going to do to try to keep up with the times or stay ahead of the times. And one of the things on the first thing on the agenda was people paying their dues. I always wondered how they pay for all of this stuff. So I guess the different houses have to pay dues when you enter into the balls or that kind of thing. He said, these trophies don't buy themselves. So that was the first thing. And then they were talking about moments of silence. They said, at this point, we're losing too many people in the community to do individual moments of silence. It's just making the balls last too long. We just got to have to do one moment of silence that we agree is what we're going to do with all the balls to recognize everybody. And Pray Tell was like, damn, it's come to that we can't even call people name no more. They were like, yeah, it's just too much. Which is a sad state of affairs. It's a sad state of affairs. So then they start talking about new categories. They said, we got to kind of spice some things up. We need to come up with some new categories. They were like, some of these categories go back to the 1960s. We got to come up with some new stuff to keep up with the times. And so one of the MCs was saying that is not. It's gonna bother me that I'm not saying what I want to say. But anyway, was saying that one of the suggestions was a lip sync category. And Pray Tell was like, if they want to see some lip syncing, they can go down to the gay bars down in the village and they can go see all the lip syncing they want. But we're not bringing no lip syncing into our balls. And he was very much against it. He said, and that is final. Well, guess who's they at a Denny's, baby. Guess who's at the Denny's overhearing, and she talking about something. That's a big mistake, Miss Candy. Candy starts telling them how that's a big mistake, how lip syncing is the future, and how, they need to add that if they want to stay ahead of the times. And Pray Tell was like, bitch, I'm not doing that. I'm not adding no lip syncing. He was like, look, you always win for face. Like, stop trying to be in a category you don't belong. She was like, well, I could turn a lip sync category. And, Pray Tell, you don't run, you ain't in charge of the world. You need to, and they get to going back and forth. Honey, she done took a butter knife off the table, and he said, well, I'm not doing it, and that's final. She done took a butter knife off the table, honey, and put it to his throat. He was like, what you gonna do? Go on. You gonna cut me in broad daylight. Go ahead. Go on and do it. And so she lets him go and everything, and then she throws a bunch of food at him on her way out the door. But, once again, we see that Pray Tell Candy dynamic. So next thing you know, we're at another ball. They have unconventional fashion category, which was really cute. The categories, the people walking those categories were really cute. And while they're there, Angel comes up to Blanca and says, "Look, I need to talk to you." Blanca was like, "We're in the middle of a category." She said, "No, this is important. I need to talk to you." So they pull Blanca out, and it's Lulu, and she's upset. And Lulu said, it's Candy. She's missing. She hasn't shown up to her last two shifts at the club, and that's not like her. She normally checks in with me after, and she sort of stops. And Blanca said, after what? She said, well, look, running the house is expensive, and she's been turning tricks down to the motel, no-tell. And Blanca was like, that is dangerous. She said, I know, but Candy gonna do what Candy want to do. So she ain't listening to me, but she's supposed to check in with me after every client, and I haven't heard from her. So Blanca was like, well, did you go down to the motel? She said, no, I'm scared. I don't want to go by myself. So, I just find it interesting how everybody goes to Blanca for everything. You know what I'm saying? They be the first ones to give Blanca a hard time for her bleeding heart. But when they need a bleeding heart, who the first person they run to? Blanca. So Blanca goes with her down to the motel. And of course, it's a no-tell motel. They got the guy at the front desk who could care less about who coming in and out. And Blanca's like, we looking for a friend of ours, Candy. He was like, look, it's a whole lot of people coming through here. They showed him a picture. He's like, like whatever. He was like, look, we rent these rooms by the hour. I can't keep up with who's who. And they said, well, she always likes to use room 44 because it has a vanity. And at that moment, Blanca notices on the board where the keys are that the key for 44 hasn't been used. I mean, it's still missing. It's gone. So somebody's still in that room. Blanca said, look, can we just go upstairs and knock on the door and just see if our friend is in there and make sure she's okay? We see that the room is being occupied. He was like, hell no. We ain't going to be running through this damn motel looking for people. So Blanca was like, look, let me give you my number. I thought when she dug in her purse, I thought she was about to hit him off with like a 20 and be like, look, give me 5 minutes to just go knock on the door. I think he probably would have let her do it for $20. But neither here nor there. She gave him her phone number and was like, look, I'm gonna leave my number and leave a picture. Can you please, if you see her, just have her call us. We just want to make sure she's okay. And he acted like he didn't want to take the number, but she basically made him take the number and they left the picture. So they getting organized. Blanca got all of the kids going out with flyers, and somebody gonna call, and Angel had to stay and watch the phones, and Angel was gonna go here, and she had it all organized. And then the phone rings. It's the motel. So she calls Lulu over. She calls Electra over to tell them what's going on, and she lets them know that Candy's gone. She's not coming back. They found her body. She's dead. So Lulu was like, what happened? And she said, well, the guy at the front desk got a little curious after we left, and he sent the maid to go up and clean the room because it had been occupied for a while. And when the maid went in to clean the room, the maid found her body in the closet. She was dead. So they get mobilized. They said, first things first, we got to get her body from the morgue. They send Angel to go talk to her parents to let her parents know what's going on, and they just sort of kind of get mobilized. So Sandra Bernhardt, Blanca, and Electra go down to the records office at the morgue to get her body, and of course, they're not her next of kin, so legally they don't have any right to claim her body. And the guy happens to be somebody that Sandra Bernhardt knows. He's gay. He done dated a friend of hers and all of that. And he said, look, she said, look, he said, I can't help you. I feel for you, but I can't help you. You're asking me to break the law. Like, I can't do that. And Sandra Bernhardt says, look, just imagine if you and my friend had worked out. Y'all got married. Y'all been together for 30 years. He dies. And when he dies, the family shuts you out. You can't claim the body. You can't visit him in the hospital in his last days. Like, all of that. Like, you have been shut out of his life. Like, imagine that. And she said, look, we're the only family that she has. We just want to claim the body. And so he ends up signing off on it. She said, look, if any blowback, I'll take the fall. So he ends up signing the body over to them. So they get to the funeral home. Electra, Angel, and Blanca are there. Lulu is like, I can't do it. Like, I just cannot. They get to the funeral home. And at first, I was a little bit nervous that the guy was not going to dress Candy as Candy. But then he said, I knew her. She's been here every week paying respects to, some of the other people who've passed on. And I just wanted to do right by her. So I said, okay, no, he's good. He's good. I was just nervous at first, right? They get there and they got Candy in this, as Electra says, a church woman wig, and her makeup is all wrong. Baby, they pull them purses out, they pull that makeup out, and they put Candy together the way Candy is supposed to be put together, right? She ain't look like Candy, but she ended up looking like Candy by the time they got done with her. And so they're at the memorial. Now this had to be the best. The way they did this whole memorial was awesome. I don't have the words, y'all. I just don't. So they had Pray Tell was the MC of the memorial. And he said, look, I ain't gonna sit here and lie to y'all. Y'all know we ain't get along. Y'all know we had our battles. Y'all know we went back and forth. He said, but she was family. He said, and y'all know family don't always get along, but they always love each other. And I said, you know what, that's probably about the realest thing. I can't stand, anyway, I ain't going down that road because it's already long enough, but y'all know what I was about to say. So I thought that was a great thing for Pray Tell to say. So he said some other words, and then he said, I'm going to ask everybody for a moment of silence. So while Pray Tell was sitting there, Candy comes to him. And she said, I forgive you. And he kind of looked around like, what? She said, I forgive you. She said, I'm a very forgiving person. I had to be in with everybody that did things that they did to me. I couldn't hold on to that, but I forgive you. She said, but I have a question. Why were you so hard on me? You cut breaks to other people, but you never cut me a break. Why is that? And he basically said, because I saw everything in you that I was afraid to be. You were unapologetically who you were in any room. He said, and that's what I hate in myself, is that there are times when I don't fully embrace who I am to try to blend in, and you never did that. And so they had a good talk, and then finally, Blanca had to tell him, snap out of it. Like, the moment of silence is over. Like, go and finish this up. And so Angel is done. Angel is so done, y'all. She is so done. And she said, I had one job. I couldn't get Candy's parents to come. And that's all. That was my one job. And I failed at it. And they told her, look, you can't be responsible for other people's decisions. All you could do is give them the information and tell them, how important it would be for them to see her. But that's all you can do. So then Candy visited Angel, and they had a good talk. And she let Angel know, look, let this be a warning to you. Don't do what I did. We know how dangerous sex work is for us. No matter how we convince ourselves that we need the money or things are bad. And Angel was like, I don't do that anymore. She said, yeah, but them you keep them pills in your back pocket. You always keep it in your back pocket because you always use it as your crutch when things ain't going right. That's where you run to. She said, and I'm telling you, stay out them toll booths and stay off the piers. She said, modeling is your thing. And I also found out the story about the first trans model that got clocked. She was on the cover of, I think it was Dark and Lovely. Somebody told me that story this weekend as well. And I was like, well, damn, I didn't know that. She was on the cover of, I don't know her name off the top of my head, but she was on the cover of Dark and Lovely. And she got clocked. And this was like maybe in the 70s, early 80s, something like that. And they pulled all the boxes off the shelf when they found out that it was a trans woman. Anyway, I don't know the name. I wish I could remember the name. I'm sure somebody's gonna drop it in the comments because somebody's gonna know the story. Neither here nor there. But she told Angel, that's your ticket. You stick with it. It doesn't matter. If they don't want you to come in the door, you bust the damn door down. So that was her message to Angel. Then we saw she didn't her and Electra didn't have a moment. Huh. Interesting. Neither here nor there. Then we saw a moment with Blanca, and all she did was hold Blanca's hand. They had no words between them because, again, what was there to say? Blanca never did anything. I don't know. They never had a conflict or anything like that, and they, so they just held each other's hand. Now Lulu is not there. Lulu didn't come, and everybody was like, and Blanca was like, look, everybody mourns differently. Everybody mourns in their own way, and we can't judge her for how she's choosing to mourn. Um, but Angel walks out and she sees Lulu in the back. And Lulu was like, I can't do it. I can't go in there. And Angel tells her, you're going to regret it in the morning. Like, you need to just go ahead and basically suck it up, buttercup. She said, because if you don't go in there, you're going to regret it. So she ends up going in there. And Lulu get to talking. And then she looked down. She said, you thieving bitch. That's my brooch. And she rips the brooch off. And those are my gloves. And she starts ripping the gloves off. And then she starts trying to take everything off of Candy. They had to escort Candy up out of there. That damn Poppy said, I ain't coming to no damn family reunions. Honey, it was hilarious. So Lulu's out front smoking a cigarette. Candy comes to her. She says, you never did like me. You never liked me. And they got to talking about their relationship. And Candy said, you're going to miss me. And as time goes on, our relationship will have a meaning that it never could have had if I had stayed alive. And I thought that was deep because in the moment they went back and forth, but in memory, you'll remember the good times. You know what I'm saying? So then Electric will come up to Blanca talking about it's an older black couple in the back looking like George and Weezy Jefferson eating up all our snacks. Blanca was like, what you want me to do about it? She was like, go put them out. That damn Electra is a mess. So Blanca goes back there and come to find out it's Candy's parents. And Blanca says, it means a lot for you guys to be here to say goodbye to Candy. And the mother corrects Blanca and says, because I think Blanca might have said her. And the mother corrects Blanca and says, he was our son or something like that. Basically, that was my son. The father ain't saying a whole lot. And I find it interesting. This dynamic I thought was very interesting. They go and Blanca walks them to say to pay their respects and everything. And of course, everybody's staring at them as they're walking down the aisle, like, oh my goodness, those are her parents. And Candy has a moment with her mother. And she says, I thought you understood me. You saw me wearing your makeup. You saw me putting on your wigs, and you never said anything. You never told me I was wrong. You never beat me. You never did anything. So I thought we were good. I thought you understood." And she said, her mother said, "I just thought you were creative." She said, "I thought maybe you were gay." She was like, "But, like regular gay." She said, "But for you to want to be a woman, I didn't understand that." She said, "There's no instruction book for that." She said, "You being gay, okay, I could, okay. But wanting to be a woman, I didn't understand that. I didn't know what to do with that." And they have a moment. She apologized and she said, "I loved you and I miss you." And she was like, "I miss you too." You know, um, she said, was it the mother or the father that said that? "I'm not ready for you to go." And Candy was like, "You got to let me go." I think that might have been the mother. But I thought that was an interesting dynamic that the mother was the one that rejected her. But then when she went to go talk to her father had always accepted her. Her father was like, "Look, you couldn't throw a perfect spiral, but you sure knew how to tackle. Like you were always my little fighter." He said, I understood that you never liked boy things, but you were mine. You were my baby." And she said, it was something that she asked for, this dollhouse. And he said, "Well, you asked for it for 3 Christmases and 2 birthdays." And she said, "I know it was you that bought me that house." She said, I was awake when you brought it home. I pretended like I was asleep, but I saw you bring it in and I saw you set it up for me." And he said, "Because whatever you wanted, I wanted you to have." It was, oh God, it was so good. It was so good. So I thought it was interesting that the mother was the one that sort of rejected her, but the father always accepted who she was. Ah, it was so good. And then Pray Tell called the other MCs up and he said, "We were going to make this announcement at the next ball, but we think it's apropos to do it now." And they announced that they were adding a new category, lip sync category, that was going to be named after Candy forevermore at the balls. And he called the pallbearers up. Some nice looking pallbearers. And they had this moment where they took her coffin out of the church, but as they were leaving out of they were really leaving out of the back of the church, I guess. The back of the church opened up, and they were actually walking into the ballroom. And Candy comes out of her coffin, and she lip syncs to "I Never Knew Love Like This Before," and she walks the ball and says all her goodbyes to everybody, and hugs and kisses, and the judges give her tens across the board, and Pray Tell gives her trophy, and it was so, y'all, it was so good. And then at the end, they had a quote from Octavia, Saint Laurent, who this story was loosely based on. Again, if you've seen Paris is Burning, you know her story. She's in Paris is Burning, and she was actually found dead in a hotel room. So again, this ran long. I don't care. Hope you guys enjoyed it. I could talk for another 20 minutes, but I will not. I can't wait to see everybody else's reviews, all the other people who reviewed this show, especially y'all know. I can't wait to hear what James got to say. But it was so good, y'all. Y'all let me know what y'all think. Drop it in them comments, please.